Fucking
Yanni, cut this.
yeah.
The way I'm gonna.
You're lucky. You're lucky I'm gonna cut that. Just let everyone know.
What a piece of shit.
You're such a piece of shit.
Hi everybody, welcome to Kieran's Piece of Shit Hour. It's time to be a piece of shit. Let's
Such
go.
a piece of shit.
I mean, you know, people are entitled to their sexual proclivities. You know, I mean, let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom. But I ain't spending any time on it. But I ain't spending any time on it. But I ain't spending any time on it. Let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom. But I ain't spending any time on it.
Hey, folks. Hi, welcome back to Shouldn'tacome, where we are deep in the doldrums of a Queensland winter. I'm hearing the mercury barely got to 22 degrees today.
Yeah, pretty fucking rough. I'm in fuzzy socks, I'm in fuzzy pants, I'm in a fuzzy jumper.
It was only sunny for most of the afternoon.
You know? It was fucking horrible. I almost took my sweater off today. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then I didn't, so I was just kind of sweaty.
Oh, what else is new?
Oh, I thought we were just doing Kieran's Piece of Shit Hour.
Hey, folks, it's Yanni and Kieran Sweaty Squaring.
Sweaty squaring. Yeah, they call me swearing.
They call me swearing.
Because of how much I sweat.
How are we all?
Are you asking me?
Well, I guess,
Are you asking the audience? Because
Hi,
they can't
Kieran.
reply. Hi. Oh, hi, Yanni. Hi.
And hi, everybody else. How are we all?
This is the part where you guys can, like, do that Dora Explorer
Okay, that's
thing.
really good to hear.
Okay.
I just wanted to check in because I'm worried about our social cohesion.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Me too. Me too. Where's the social glue that holds our social fabric together socially?
Damn. I never thought about that. So, do we need social glue or social sewing?
Well, I mean, social stitches.
Social stitches.
Social snitches get social stitches.
Social snitches.
Yeah, where are all of the social snitches at?
where
I
are
bet
the
there's some social
social
snitches in what we're going to talk about today.
Some social rats. No, today we are, as you can see from the title, friends, we are talking about trying to get our head around the ongoing Royal Commission into anti-Semitism and social cohesion.
Yay!
If we look deep into the distant past,
How deep?
we, what is it, June? Like
June's not here.
6 months ago.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Oh, hey, shout out June.
Shout out, June.
But if we look deep into the distant past, we'll see a familiar character at the heart of this Royal Commission. Obviously, Israel, broadly. But this Royal Commission is really the legacy of a girl boss of yesteryear.
Okay.
Susan Lee.
Oh, shit. Susan Lee back again.
Yeah, what's Susan Lee calling for here in this headline?
Shouting over victims' voices. Susan Lee asked Anthony Albanese to heed calls for a federal royal commission. Susan Lee has revealed she begged Anthony Albanese for a Commonwealth Royal Commission on Monday, as she accused him of failing to listen to the victims of the Bondi shooting.
Yeah, so in December of 2025, after the Bondi Beach shooting, the topic du jour of political and social discussion was how best to respond institutionally to the attack.
Yes, there was a lot of that.
Yeah, it's kind of in the past now because it's happening, and this period was only about 2 weeks. Looking back, shocked me, I guess, how short it was, but I guess things feel really long at the moment.
Yeah.
Susan Lee seems to have started or popularized the high-profile Royal Commission calls that this should be the way that this is responded to. Soon to be joined by relatives of people killed at Bondi, and then by more than half of everybody else in those big roles that represent society. Business leaders, religious leaders, public servants, Ian Thorpe, you know the types. Yeah, a lot of sports people, Jess Fox as well, came out being like, we need to do a Royal Commission. It's like, I don't mean like shut up and dribble. When I say this, but I don't think Ian Thorpe.
I mean, that's homophobic if you say it to Ian Thorpe.
Oh, I forget. He's so straight-coded.
But yeah, like it's one of those things which I personally enjoy, and by that I mean I dislike a lot. But when
I enjoy, and by that I mean I dislike a lot. This explains a lot of, like, what I see you watching on TV.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the case. Usually when I like something, it's because there is a part of me that also hates it a little bit. Sometimes a lot of it.
So what about the things you like?
Well, sometimes I just like those, you know?
Oh, okay.
You know, you can either like something or you can like something and also hate it. I think perhaps I like the passion that I feel when I hate something.
Yeah, okay.
I think
so the
feeling an emotion
itself-
is what's so desirable about some of these situations.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I love but also hate when, like, public figures, you know, a Queensland high-profile public figure, but a public figure who's, like, super not in politics or anything like that, like a sports person, like a singer, like, I don't know, a third type of person. I really enjoy when they pop up about politics and they're like, actually, I think we should do this. Because I'm like, A, that's really funny. I don't think you know anything.
That's the thing.
Like, what? Are you telling me that me and Ian Thorpe read the same, like, articles online?
Yeah.
You telling me and Ian Thorpe have, like, perhaps a common opinion?
Yeah.
That he does things that aren't just, like, swimming and stuff
Well, he's
and, like,
retired
thinking about,
now, right?
like, wet things? Like,
He's thinking about fish and
you know?
stuff.
Like, he's just like, damn.
He's talking to his
Fish
relatives
had it
like,
so fucking good. Exactly. Like, I'm just supposed to be like, oh, yeah, he sits down and has his coffee in the morning and, like, also opens ABC or something.
I mean, Ian Thorpe could be opening ABC.
I know, but it's weird.
Because he's like...
Freak?
He has this, like, waterproof phone or something.
Yeah, I guess I just always imagine him kind of underwater. And I don't mean to. But I'm just like, yeah, you know, that guy.
Whack
Same
guy.
with, like, Jess Fox. She probably has to have a waterproof phone to read the news. She's out there, like,
On a kayak or whatever.
kayaking and shit.
Kayaking with her striking eyes.
With her striking eyes and her name that is, like a fox. Because it's Fox,
Yeah, it's like a fox.
you know?
Yeah, you
She's
can
got,
call
like,
it
a foxy
lupine.
kind of
Well,
name.
that's not right.
Lupine.
Vulpine.
Vulpine.
Yeah,
Lupine is for wolves.
Yeah. Anyway,
Vulpix represent. Okay, go.
it took a couple weeks of bullying before Anthony Albanese finally decided to trigger the process of a royal commission. Which
Triggered.
He was triggered. At first, he said he wasn't going to do one. He's like, I'm not doing a royal commission. You can't make me do a royal commission.
Me getting an undesirable task at work. I'm not going to fucking do it. I'm not going to fucking do it. And, like, the next week, I'm just like, well, somebody has to fucking do
Somebody
it.
has to fucking do this. Yeah, so it's forgotten now, but the media campaign, you were just mentioning it before, it was of screeching magnitude, right? Like, everyone was like, we have to
do a royal commission.
Like, Ian
Because
Thorpe,
nobody knows what that
I
means.
don't- well, yes. That's one of the big things. Not to say that we necessarily do. And I've spent a while reading about him now, and I don't.
I don't know what they mean.
We'll get closer. No, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna stare at it and strafe it for a while.
Okay, we're going to start strafing.
So we're not gonna change how far we are away
Perfect,
from
but
understanding
we're,
it.
like,
But we are gonna like observe it, see it change a little as we move.
okay, so like parallel lines that are beefing.
Yeah, but the
We'll
Royal
kind of
Commission-
observe at each other.
Imagine the Royal Commission is a gigantic temple complex in the distance.
Got it.
And we want to know how it works because in some way what happens in the temple complex affects our everyday life.
Got it.
But it's really hard to get there
Okay.
because there's this huge chasm in the way, I guess.
Chasm.
And the chasm is understanding like all the things that the law is and stuff. And
The chasm is knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowledge you cannot access.
knowledge that we just can't get. So we're just going to kind of walk alongside the chasm,
Got it.
looking at the Royal Commission temple, seeing if we can learn anything about it by seeing it from over there.
Yep, okay,
Instead.
okay.
That's what we're doing today.
Got it.
But yeah, Ian Thorpe was like, we need to do one of those, right? Because we're all basically on this side of the cliff. And we're like, well,
We should do the
Alva,
big building
you're the
thing.
one. Go over there. Go make that. Go do
You're
that
allowed to
one.
walk across the bridge there.
Because that's like the biggest thing. We know it's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But even when he'd called it, people were climbing over themselves to question if he took too long and if that's because he was a cowardly baby. This is from The Guardian.
Was Albanese's Royal Commission refusal cynical or considered? Either way, his back down has come too late. The Prime Minister says he takes the time to choose the right path, but it was right there in front of him the whole time.
The goal of the Royal Commission, what it's meant to look at, this one, is both very broad, because one of the goals is how to tackle anti-Semitism regarding law enforcement, schools, immigration, and how to strengthen social cohesion, which doesn't mean anything.
No.
and also about what happened to lead up to the Bondi Beach shooting from like a police standpoint.
Right. Just
Which
being
is-
like, hey, security wise, how did this get fucked up?
Yeah.
On like a measurable level of
Like
like,
a practical
okay,
level.
who was on the ground?
Yeah.
Should we
were
have
these
had
people
more
known
like
for
blah
police?
blah blah like
that
yeah.
stuff, right? And like they're gonna unsurprisingly, I think they're going to end up at the police have to have bigger guns. But we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, probably.
But-
or hey, just more oversight, just more overreaching powers.
More overreaching powers.
Yeah.
I imagine you'd see both, but like the that's so different from the first two things. You know, like broadly tackling anti-Semitism and what happened at, like those are such different fields of inquiry.
Absolutely, they're connected by the fact of like the event, but one is looking at the actual event and the details of what actually happened, and the other one is kind of dealing with a much broader, hard to categorize or define vibe.
I mean, honestly, subjective.
Yes.
But it's a massive win for Susan because although her proposed terms of reference, which is what they're called, I think, was much more specifically targeting like culturally leftist institutions.
Okay,
Not
interesting.
leftist, but like, you know, hers was much more like we need to see what's happening in universities and
yeah.
in, like that kind of
Places where you might expect perhaps more of a favoritism towards
exactly
like
because she's doing a
anti-Zionism, you know.
Exactly, she's doing a media release, right? So
Which is
she's like got this
crazy.
whole big list of like, here's what I would make the Royal Commission say. She wants to make sure everyone feels included. Or
Susan,
whatever.
you knew damn well you weren't going to make it all the way.
Hey,
Come
but
on
this
now.
is her political legacy. Like at the end of the day, the Royal
Crazy.
Commission into Anti-Semitism is the political legacy of Susan Lee.
Guess she got the. You know what? Then I guess in the end she was right to have flipped on Palestine.
She made it. Now
She's done it now.
Now there's this Royal Commission. Hanging over this whole discussion up to this point, that we've asked a couple of times, is this question.
What is a broiled collision?
Oh, sorry, not that one. What? Sorry.
What is a Royal Commission? Fuck you.
Sorry, I put the wrong slide up there.
Me about to be like, bruh, come on. A broiled collision. Now what? Fucking now what? Oh, okay, we've got a
Sorry,
broiled collision.
It's the wrong slide. I left that there by mistake.
Oh,
That was workshopping.
how did my modeling shots get in there? That's crazy.
So, what is all this fuss about?
Go.
What exactly does the king or queen have to do with it? Who are the people doing it? And what can they do? And those questions imply further questions. When does Australia call a royal commission? Have they been effective? How many have there been? And who calls them? And that's what we're going to look into today before next week, because we're going to have a gander at what's going on in the current one. And I
Yep.
just wanted a little bit of context, right?
Yes.
So, a royal commission really is just a deep dive into a particular topic. That topic can be an individual, an incident, an industry, national infrastructure, society in general, the works, right? It's called a royal commission because in theory it comes from the highest echelon of government, which is the king or the queen. But in practice, the government of the day writes to the governor general to be like, hey, make this happen and we're going to have a royal commission. We've decided. The Royal Commission gets a lot of legal power to get whatever documents and witnesses they need to, like, really shake the couch cushions clean of any goss that might be related to the issue. And the government picks some old lawyer to serve as the judge and tells them what to look into.
Okay. All right. Cool. So it's just like the government is they're putting a crack team together for a special investigation
Exactly.
into a certain topic.
Exactly. And the commission itself doesn't have any power beyond, like, these pretty powerful legal rights to get information and subpoena people and stuff. They have a lot of legal power to get witnesses, to subpoena people, to make people talk, and to get access to documents.
Okay.
They don't have any power to hire someone, fire somebody, have somebody arrested, pass any laws, change the constitution, nothing.
That's why they're always like, here are the recommendations, because that's
Exactly.
the only thing they can produce.
The only thing they can produce is recommendations to the government about the question the government's asked them. So in
Okay.
theory, they're like doing it in good faith. If a royal commission is basically serving the purpose of the government, like in theory, if everybody was acting in good faith, which we don't think they are.
Yes.
But if everybody was, it'd be like, we have this big project, we want to figure out how to do it. We're going to and we think it's,
Hey.
we think it's of an importance that merits resources of a national scale to be put behind it. What should we do?
Okay.
In theory. But they just give their recommendation back to the government, right?
Yeah.
So there have been, including the ongoing Antisemitism Royal Commission, 141 federal-level royal commissions in Australia since they started here in 1902.
Damn, okay.
Yeah, there's also state royal commissions, but we just cannot be getting into that. We don't have time.
Fair enough.
We don't have time.
So we've had more than
141.
141. So we've had multiple royal commissions, more than one per year.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to try and get out there.
1.05 or 1.1 a year. Like roughly one a year.
On a pretty regular basis, we're doing royal commissions.
Right, yeah. So what we're going to do for the next 10,000 hours is read out all of the royal commissions. Psych.
Fucking got me.
I got you. Those are long documents, but I wanted to get a bit of a handle on what they're all about. And let me tell you, they're all about a lot.
Okay.
Kieran's seeing a bunch of pretty boxes now, but I wanted to see the difference in how long the name of a royal commission can get.
Okay.
The chart that I'm showing Kieran is a box chart where each box represents a royal commission and the size of the box represents how many letters are in its name.
This is amazing. I love to see it.
So this sort of reflects how specific or broad the topic of the commission is. If it's something extremely broad, it'll be a short sub-30 letter royal commission name. See the 1925 Royal Commission on Health and the 1932 Royal Commission on Taxation.
Okay. Some of the smaller rectangles.
However, if it's a very specific topic, you'll get a name more like the 227-letter odyssey from 1962 called by the Menzies Liberal government.
Okay.
This Royal Commission was...
Royal Commission on alleged improper practices and improper refusal to cooperate with the Victoria Police Force on the part of persons employed in the Postmaster General's Department in Victoria in...
It's too big for the slide. I'll make it smaller.
From the top. Royal Commission on it. No, I'm kidding. I'm just going to go from there. On the part of persons employed in the Postmaster General's Department in Victoria in relation to illegal gambling.
It's a Royal Commission into illegal gambling.
Damn.
And then all this other stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's on the alleged improper practices and improper refusal to cooperate with the Victoria Police Force on the part of persons employed in the Postmaster General's Department in Victoria in relation to illegal gambling. Hey.
So here's one that wouldn't make any sense today. Sports betting right now is an epidemic.
Yes.
Something like 1 in 7 men aged 18 to 44 are pissing away heaps of money to sports bet in Australia, the country with the most gambling losses in the world.
Very funny.
There's our little bullet point on that. Back in the day, you were only allowed to gamble at a racetrack. So you'd go to the pub and you'd give your money to a guy who would take it to the racetrack, gamble it for you, and then bring you back the winnings minus his fee.
Yeah.
This is a bookmaker or a bookie.
Okay.
And it was illegal. Like, that wasn't legal to do back then either.
Well, here's the thing about a lot of things in this country. It kind of doesn't fucking matter. Like, vapes are illegal.
Vapes are illegal. What I have right here is a card from the I Get Care program, which is the vape care program.
Yeah, the vape care program.
The vape has a care program QR code.
Yeah.
With a hug on it.
Yeah.
And this isn't legal.
Because I get cares.
Anyway, so, unsurprisingly, heaps of cops were bribed to make the illegal gambling happen.
Of course.
Something like 60% of Victoria's police officers were involved in this $500 million black market.
Of course.
The very first Royal Commission, called by the Barton Protectionist government in 1902, had a pretty long name as well.
Okay. Royal Commission appointed to inquire into and report upon the arrangements made for the transport of troops returning from service in South Africa in the SS Drayton Grange.
A bunch of people in this filthy fucking boat died from measles and such on the way back from the Boer War. The Royal Commission found they need to clean boats more. You know, like, you can't...
Yeah, all right, yeah.
It's serving its purpose. The question is, like, is this what we need to be spending our time doing? I don't know. I don't know how important the Drayton Grange was.
How could this have happened?
But, like, a lot of people died, and they were like, we need to clean the boats more. And
Prime Minister, they live in fucking filth.
And it was like, well, get rid of the filth. Hopefully they did. I don't know. We'll have to ask some...
Hopefully they...
I'll have to ask some boat people is what I was going to say, but...
yeah,
I just wanted to...
dicey to talk about
put a lampshade on that. I really liked the second Royal Commission, which was
Royal Commission on Sites for the Seat of Government of the Commonwealth. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's what I said. I'm like, here we go.
Okay.
Canberra time. This is the Royal Commission where they find that Canberra is going to be the capital city.
Yeah.
This is the first one that I actually opened the old document to start reading.
Yeah.
And it has the full imperial title of the reigning monarch on the first page.
Oh, shit, okay.
Which isn't the case anymore. Well, I think it is the case, but the title's much shorter.
Yeah.
This is what it says on the first page.
Edward, by the grace of God, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, and of the British dominions beyond the seas, King, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India.
It's just a long old title, and he's like, you need to look into the capital city.
It's just like, pick a fucking capital.
The previous one, he's like, you need to look into this boat.
Yeah.
As if the king... I feel like I would have had the same reaction as you did about Ian Thorpe calling for a royal commission.
Yeah.
If in, I guess, 1902, it's like, oh, King fucking Edward is like, we need to look into this boat. I'm like, he doesn't know about the boat.
How does he know about the boat?
And what does he know about boats?
Yeah.
Like, he's just that guy.
You know?
I mainly see him with a sword.
Yeah, he's just some guy, you know, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India.
Yeah.
What does he fucking know about boats?
He only knows about the stuff beyond the seas. It's a much shorter title now. So they wanted to check out the water, drainage, soil, picturesqueness, and such of all the possible cities. Picturesqueness was one of the words. And if you read the report at the time, you would be shocked that they didn't pick Tumut. Or Albury, but probably Tumut. Albury.
Really?
Yeah, so Lake George is, I think, the site that becomes Canberra, and it's listed as Lake George.
Yeah.
It outperforms Bombala, but it's about comparable with Lyndhurst and Orange. In fact, they both look like slightly better bets at this point.
Really?
As per the Royal Commission's findings. All Lake George has going for it is that it's got heaps of water, and you don't have to pay off too many people. They came out with this chart.
Okay.
It's what we've basically got is the ranking of each of the capital cities in terms of these different qualities, right? So if we look at Tumut's the second best for suitability from a topographical perspective, best climate, best soil, best water supply, and best catchment area, but it's slightly expensive to procure the site, not super accessible, and the building materials will cost a lot of money. Right? Damn. But it's mostly 1s and 2s.
Yeah.
Whereas Lake George is mostly 6s and 7s.
Yeah, like it's doing what? The cost of resumption, good. That's its best quality. And its water supply.
Yeah.
Ranking it 2, yeah. Damn.
So.
Damn, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That was just like, it's kind of fucking shit. But, you know.
It's cheap.
Armidale might be only slightly worse than Lake George.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
That's crazy.
Like if Bathurst had become the capital city, but also had the exact same culture as it does today.
Well, we'd still have,
the Bathurst
the
race.
big vroom vroom cars in the capital, you know?
Oh, hey. I hadn't
Shout
even
out Summer
considered that.
Nuts.
We have Summer Nuts.
Yeah.
Is that
but only briefly.
What do you mean briefly? Is Summer Nuts... Did they finish Summer Nuts?
No, I think I just mean like in terms of like,
in the year, right.
Yes,
right.
yeah.
So
for a hot moment, Canberra has a lot of souped up cars.
Yeah. So I don't know how successful, I guess, this Royal Commission was for what the purpose of that government... Like, I don't know if that government didn't want it to be Canberra. And it's not even... I don't think the site's exactly Canberra that they're considering at this point.
Yeah. It's a little bit to the north where Lake George is.
Yeah.
If they're looking at the actual Lake George.
Yes,
Lake George.
yes, exactly. I didn't... Listen, there's 141 of these.
How dare you not investigate every single one to the fullest?
Look, I'm thinking about it. So there have been basically 2 periods of intense royal commissioning in Australia's political history. By the Nationalist Party in the 20s, which is, I think, it was Hughes, Billy Hughes, and Bruce. I have those written down somewhere, but later. I don't just know that fact.
Oh, okay.
And by Gough Whitlam in the 2-year period in the 1970s. This chart that Kieran is currently seeing is just the royal commissions called by year and by the party that's called it.
Yeah, there's 2 big spikes, basically.
Yeah. We're actually currently in a bit of a lull of royal commissions compared to these spikes.
Yeah, we haven't had one since, a couple years ago, maybe?
Well, we're having one right now.
Well, we're having one right now, but
there've been a couple
then.
years, and there's kind of been one per year, and periods without a couple. And the last time there were 3 in a year was 1995.
Damn, that's crazy.
Comparatively, Stanley Bruce and Billy Hughes, the nationalist prime ministers who shared the 1920s, started 21 royal commissions each for a total of 42 in that decade.
It's a lot of fucking royal
It's like
commissions.
4 per year. Third on that list of most called is Whitlam, who did 14 royal commissions in like 2 years.
That big spike there.
That big spike there.
Damn, yeah,
in
7
the
in
70s.
1 year.
Yeah. Given another term, or even if he'd finished his first one, he would have absolutely caught up. So the Royal Commission as a thing that happens seems like it's really attached to like a particular prime minister and if they like to do it or not.
Yeah, whether they're like a royally commissioning.
Exactly.
You know.
It's one of the ways that a prime minister can affect things, but I don't know. In the realpolitik of it, there's probably like, oh, it has these advantages and these disadvantages. I don't give a fuck. Billy Hughes and Gough Whitlam were both considered dudes who were pursuing meaningful legislation. That's the way people talk about the two of them when they're talking about Australian political history. Is that true? I don't know. But they did all these royal commissions.
They did a lot of royal commissions.
And it's
Is
probably
that meaningful?
Well, it's probably the easiest way for something to go from the prime minister to getting the ball rolling in a legal sense outside of the normal course of governing.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is being done outside of the whole, like, parties debating back
It's
and
like,
forth
we need
about
to
it
do
in
this
an
right
actual
now.
thing, yeah.
Yeah. Like the introduction of compulsory voting. That's a huge thing that changes everything. It came out of eventually a 1914 Royal Commission run by Joseph Cook and the Liberal Party into elections in general.
Okay.
So those sorts of big constitutional changes traditionally come from royal commissions.
Okay, that makes sense.
Let's talk about Billy Hughes again.
Okay. Well, there he is. Little mustache. Charlie Chaplin. Or another guy.
Hughes was big on like empire stuff.
Which is crazy. He kind of looks like a more weathered version of, like, the American Gothic guy.
Yeah, he does have that
In,
Munchian
that-
aesthetic.
Yeah.
That's all I know about that. Is this Munch? I don't think that's true. But
He looks like an old farmer.
He looks like an old farmer. He was big on like empire stuff, right? Part of this is that Australia inherits a pretty sizable empire. Like, here's all this land that we control. We talked about it in the extremities episode a little bit.
Yeah.
From the Pacific, in the Pacific from the British. Billy ran royal commissions into Java, Singapore, and New Guinea. Just like, hey, what should we do with these places? Right? Like,
Well, now what do we do with it?
now what do we do with these things? Just like, and he also ran the Royal Commission on pillaging of ships' cargo.
Okay.
They did a pirate court.
Holy
There's too much
shit.
piracy. Here's one of the recommendations of that Royal Commission.
Okay. Persons lurking under wharves should be removed by the water police.
Hey, clean the ships. Get rid of the people from under the
Hey,
wharves.
if somebody's lurking under the wharf, a pretty good chance they're gonna pillage the boat.
We have this pillaging problem.
You're not really lurking under wharfs for fun, you know?
I mean, it's wet down there.
It's wet down there.
Ian Thorpe's
lurking?
down there.
Come on now. Ian
You
Thorpe's
know?
down there. Leave him alone.
Well, that language is prejudicing people who live under wharves. Like,
I just want to hang out under the
lurking.
wharfs with my friends. It's just like, you're lurking down there.
When they do it, it's lurking.
Exactly,
Whereas
exactly.
when like a good upstanding Australian does it, it's having a barbecue under a wharf.
yeah,
or
having
whatever.
just swimming with a mate.
Swimming with a mate. His government, Hughes's government, was focused on keeping this big exporting empire going. They ran royal commissions into Navy administration, the price of coal, railways, and problems at dockyards, which is often union issues, which we will come back to later.
Okay. I bet.
Yes. There's also the stuff that ties us to Europe. I understand that Hughes was always in Europe making big speeches and trying to shove his dick in war discussions, being like, we're really important, and here's what I think about these things. He's like a pompous senior partner in the Western Axis, and everyone's like, then Billy Hughes was there.
I was like, fucking Billy's here. God damn it.
It's really interesting hearing how Australian political people, or people who are interested in Australian politics, talk about Billy Hughes. If they've read about him or not, they tend to speak about him with a bit of awe.
Okay.
And it's really interesting compared to, because he's come up sometimes when I hear people talking about or read about like World War One specifically, because he's at some of these conferences.
Yeah.
And he's just, all the non-Australian writers are like, this fucking stupid, annoying guy was there as well and made everything harder to do.
It's like this dead
ruined
shit that knew
everything.
nothing and had a loud mouth.
Exactly. It's really interesting. So, he was involved with a bunch of commissions into like administration within Australia as well, right? Stuff that, we kind of take for granted, I guess, that they exist now, but are part of the infrastructure of the country, of how it works, that have existed since like the 20s, right? For instance, the first Royal Commission on the sugar industry.
Ooh.
He wasn't the Prime Minister yet, but he was the Attorney General and very involved in making it happen. And he ran his own commission on the sugar industry in 1919. There have been 2 on the sugar, like 4. This is a kind of mundane thing that doesn't have something spooky from the past underneath it. It's just about the prices of sugar and how certain people in the supply chain are getting ripped off. Between farmers and mill owners and workers, how best to redistribute the profits, what laws to put on the prices. It's doing important work to make sure the sugar industry stays alive. But why, you might be asking, do we have to keep the sugar industry alive if it's such a big problem?
Probably makes a lot of money.
Here's the Adelaide Reporter.
Okay. Read ahead. Only like 5 words in.
You read the 4th and 5th word.
Yeah.
5th and 6th.
The policy of a white Australia must be loyally adhered to, and that the cane sugar industry should be supported because it involves the occupation of tropical and semi-tropical areas by whites, who are a factor in the defence of the North. Relative to questions of settlement and defence, all other issues, say the commissioners, are of minor importance. Damn.
Yeah.
So it's just like, we got to keep it white, and the most white thing to do is to enslave people on sugar plantations.
Yeah. We have to do it.
We have to do
enslave
it.
these people because
That's crazy.
Another hidden White Australia Royal Commission is the Royal Commission on the Pearl Shelling Industry, which is another Billy Hughes one.
It's going to be another one.
It found that despite the whole White Australia thing, there would need to be the continued indentured servitude of brown people because, quote,
"The life of a pearl shell diver is not a desirable one, and the risks are great, as proved by the abnormal death rate amongst divers. It is incompatible with that a European worker is entitled to live."
As far as I can tell, the Royal Commission on the fruit industry isn't a hidden White Australia story, which is weird because the fruit industry is a hidden White Australia story.
Yes, you would imagine that would also be in the cool, and the fruit industry also we're going to need to
It's the third thing that we've talked about.
Yeah.
But it did find that the climatic conditions of Australia are such as to strongly favour a more general consumption of fresh fruit, which raises eyebrows at a lot of people's diets. It's just like, hey, we should be having heaps of fruit.
Like, we should probably be eating more fruit. And all the kind of, like, English culture and stuff is just like, what about meat? What about a root vegetable?
What about a root vegetable? I tried to sort the Royal Commissions into categories, and that was really tough to do, and didn't really work. But broadly speaking, Royal Commissions into a good or an aspect of national administration are the most common types, with 43, a bit more than a quarter, are about one of those two things. Administration of the country, like taxation or whatever, or a good, the sugar industry, the fruit industry, the pearl industry.
Yep, okay.
Here's one more example of a Royal Commission into a good. Kieran, have you ever heard of Skippy Burgers?
No.
This was a massive scandal in 1981.
Fucking what, kangaroo burger or something?
It was perhaps best captured by the musical stylings of the Webb Brothers, which I'm about to show you.
Okay, please.
God damn, take this stew, get it tested. Find out whether 4 legs or 2. The findings were somewhat alarming. I'm afraid, sir, there's ruin your stew. Afraid, sir, there's ruin your stew.
Americans weren't happy when they discovered the beef we'd been exporting to them wasn't beef.
The colonel put the licking in the chicken back. Who put the roux in the stew? Who put the roux in the stew?
The meat was exported from Victoria. The kangaroo came from Queensland. Or was it horse? Somewhere along the line, someone was making a lot of money.
That's really funny. What, they were just putting, like, other types of fucking meat in there. They were like, yeah, this is, prime grade beef, just Australian beef. And they had, like, what, horse and fucking kangaroo in it and shit. They were just like, fuck it. Kangaroo. It's meat. The Yanks won't tell the difference.
America. It has shown up in some fast food, like Jack in the Box.
That's so fucking funny.
Yeah, and so
that is so fucking
over there
funny.
They were calling them Skippy Burgers, and it was really embarrassing for Australia.
Obviously, can you imagine if that had happened today?
Oh, we'd lose our shit. The
It would be
minister
so
for health.
funny. It would be so like even reputationally, like culturally, it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, Australians, who export like a lot of meat, we've just been slipping kangaroo.
We've just been slipping kangaroo and some horse in there.
Some horse in there.
Down here, so the the government minister in charge of conceivably in charge of this side of things. His last name is Nixon, right? And so the opposition are calling this Slaughtergate.
Fuck off. Come on. What were you going to do?
They kind of...
They ate a little bit with it. They ate some Skippy Burger with that one.
And the Webb brothers, those musical brothers, those
Gentlemen,
singers,
one of them had a big chin.
Yeah, they're Fabian, Marius, and Berard Webb.
Of course they are.
Berard. It's like Gerard with a B.
Berard?
Yeah, Berard.
Berard.
They're from Gympie. They won like Australian Country Song of the Year for Who Put the Roux in the Stew.
Who put the roux in the stew? Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, it's this whole story about Ronald Reagan, who's like, let's make a stew, and then they're eating it, and they're like, what is this?
Yeah. What the fuck
Get
is this
meat
flavor?
tested. And they're doing these like, I guess, bad American accents.
Incredible.
They're recognizable, but it's like their
Incredible.
Australian accents are really strong. These guys are apparently like legitimately were farmers that were like brothers that all sung together.
Just like, okay, Jonas Brothers.
and they're named Fabian, Marius, and Berard.
Webb.
Anyway, the exports also went to Singapore and the Middle East, which included exports labeled as halal, which were obviously not. And they're probably fucking kangaroo as well, but they might be pig too, who knows.
Yeah, just like mystery meat. Just like, oh, fuck it, we've got some loose meat around.
It's loose meat. The Royal Commission into the Australian meat industry also found that meat included donkeys, goats, and buffaloes.
Buffaloes is a crazy one. The other one I was like, yeah, okay, surely people who are like trying to churn out additional money are just grabbing whatever animal they could feasibly pass as being beef when it's dead.
That was absolutely what they were doing.
Chopped up.
When it's dead and chopped up.
Buffalo's crazy.
Buffalo's
What do you
crazy.
fucking mean? What, we had enough buffaloes here for that?
Look, I didn't actually.
Did somebody
look
just like
into
have a
that.
handful of buffaloes and they were just like, times are tough?
I don't like.
Sorry, buddy.
The kangaroos. I understand it was like they're just shooting them in the field, throwing them onto trucks,
Yeah.
driving them, like not refrigerating them or whatever. Like they drive them from Queensland to Victoria, just on the back of a truck.
That's fucking crazy.
And
but
in
I would
America,
expect
they
nothing
have,
else.
Like different food safety standards at this point.
Yeah.
And it's just sold as beef for people. That last part about it also being donkeys, goats, and buffaloes and horses was kept quiet until 2012.
That's so funny, and it came out then.
Yes, and I'm just realizing now, there's a scene in the movie Australia, the Baz Luhrmann movie
Yeah.
Australia.
Baz Luhrmann's big budget epic, big budget epic, big budget epic, Australia.
Where she's the lady, the English lady, is like looking at some kangaroos jumping, and then one of the guys like kills one of them, and she's like, oh, and she's really shocked.
Oh, look at them jumping!
And if you're American and you lived through the Skippy Burgers incident, does that scene hit way harder? Because you're like, that is what those cunts down there are doing.
You know?
They're shooting roux. They're putting roux in the stew.
Or I wonder if it's... So what year did this happen? This was, remind me?
The Royal Commission into the Australian meat industry, 1981.
That's really funny. So I've told you about Wake in Fright, which is a Ozploitation film about like... You know, I think he's like, you know, a city boy who goes to the outback and he has like a horrible time. And it's one of the original, like, the outback and the people who live there are really fucked up and scary kind of thing.
What happened to John Grant?
Now drink it down!
The Outback happened to John Grant.
And there's a scene in there where they go kangaroo hunting, which was filmed with actual kangaroos being killed and
I
hit by
remember
cars
this.
and like chopped in half and shit. That was a decade prior to this Royal Commission. So in 1971. So I wonder if anyone had seen this movie and then this came out and they were like, wait, what? Because I think it was big overseas. I feel like particularly
I
in
feel like
France, but it's like...
amongst like pulp movie people, I'm sure a lot of people would have enjoyed
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that would have been a wild experience.
Yeah.
Just being like, I think I saw this in a movie once.
I feel like I saw this shit, but I don't know about that.
But yeah, that's like some of the Royal Commissions into goods. Administration, the other big category, is kind of my catch-all term for like government decisions on how the country will work on a day-to-day basis. There's the Constitution Royal Commission of 1927, for instance, discussing whose responsibility things like health, aviation, company policy, and industrial relations should be. One of the many problems with like multi-level bureaucracies in government is that everyone's arguing about who has to do and thus pay for.
Yeah, it's just like, whose responsibility is this?
Yeah, it's not that interesting. But right next to the Sydney Morning Herald article about it was this story.
Boy shot by another boy to get wildflowers.
Guys, it's a wild three-stage headline. Boy shot
By another boy to get wildflowers. Why is it also formatted like that?
I don't know. It's like a haiku.
Boy shot by another boy to get wildflowers.
Yeah, he was 12. The boy's hand had to be lanced
Which boy?
to extract the bullet. George Bishop. He's age 12.
And was the boy who was shooting also age 12? What did they have they were competing for a sweetie's attention, and
Just
they like
says the lad with the rifle told Bishop that if he did not hand over his bunch of wildflowers, he would be shot. When Bishop refused to hand them over, the boy shot him in the hand. Bishop dropped the flowers, which were picked up by the other lads who made off. Detectives are investigating the matter.
holy shit.
Happened in Perth.
Every girl in Perth just suddenly being like, it was weird that my fling got me flowers recently, and he's not the flower picking type.
It's the depression.
And
They already have flowers.
He was really tired too, like he'd been running really hard. But I guess that's just how flower picking goes.
But that was just a fun little aside. There's all
crazy.
these like 3-stage headlines where each stage of the headline is only a couple of words.
I love that.
A few of Whitlam's royal commissions were about these sort of administrative issues as well, in ways that are still quite relevant today and are being contested today. 1973 had the Aboriginal Land Rights Commission, which coalesced into the Land Rights Act a few years later. That same year was the commission... I mean, a lot happened that same year with Whitlam. He did a lot of these commissions. That same year was the Commission of Inquiry into Land Tenures, which suggested more government use of land as opposed to the private sector.
Okay.
There was also the National Estate Committee of Inquiry, which looked at policies regarding nature reserves and heritage-listed buildings.
Okay.
So there's, like, this is part
lot
of,
of, like-
while looking back, you can see the reputation Gough Whitlam has as, like, someone who did a lot of tried to do a lot of fundamental structural things. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like with the topics he's going through, he's just kind of like, okay, guys, we've got to like take stock and work out what the fuck we're doing. We can't just keep
Exactly.
like wild westing this shit and hoping it'll work out. We have to work it out ourselves. Like, we do have to have like rules and shit.
Exactly.
Let's see what's going on.
Much rarer than these administration royal commissions are the ones that are into, like, society.
Well, yeah, I mean, how do you even? What are you gonna? How can you?
Exactly. And that's what I've called the category that the Antisemitism and Social Cohesion Royal Commission is going into. Because it's that kind of, like, societal problem that's not tied to many material problems.
Yeah, there's nothing on the books. You can't go through the records of societal vibes.
Exactly. And there were 7 that I identified as being society-focused.
Okay.
There's one that's just on health, which was just kind of like a general health of the nation thing.
Okay, yeah.
One on the motion picture industry to investigate the power of film upon juveniles. There was one on human relationships.
Okay.
This was a Whitlam commission that lost funding when he was kicked out. But it was about, like, you know, everything from same-sex relationships to, like, familial abuse. Like, it was a whole sweeping...
Damn.
What are Australian homes like? Royal Commission.
That would have been fascinating to have results on.
Yeah, I think there were some, but also, yeah, their funding kind of trickled away after the whole thing happens. There was the Veteran Suicide Commission a couple of years ago. I'm not talking.
I feel like I remember that vaguely.
Yeah, I'm not talking too much about the recent ones. We'll briefly touch on them at the end, but that they're fresher in their mind and kind of like they feel more serious a lot of the time.
Well, yeah, because ideally
they
just happened, but also ideally they'd be about things that are like, relevant to now.
Yeah, at least a few years ago. Yeah.
I don't think the like Royal Commission into the meat industry in the 1980s really matters that much
It
now.
doesn't feel something in the same way. And then there have been 2 Royal Commissions into drugs. The drug ones are great.
Hell yeah, okay.
In 1981, the much more recent one, was done by the Liberal government of Malcolm Fraser. It's really big. I opened all the Royal Commission report documents. I didn't read them all. I didn't read the entirety of any of them. I didn't read even most of any of them.
Fair enough.
I did read a lot of the introductions of them.
Yes.
And this one was a really, really long document. It was about, like, going into detail about the different drugs people use, how they use them, the existing punishments, social norms around them, and how they are transported. And then also, like, what we should give police or whatever. It becomes like a total.
What do we do
thing.
afterwards? Yeah.
But it's a big old thing. Kieran, could you describe this incredibly sad picture of an example of drug smuggling from the report?
Yes.
All right, so it's another 2-stager.
Okay, so it looks like what's happened is somebody has presumably like cut open a panda toy, like a soft toy panda, and put like a package of drugs inside of it, and then like tried to. Is the whole thing drugs? What is underneath
No,
it?
they've absolutely just cut open a soft toy panda and put a package of drugs inside of it and put a platform on it. And it's in the report. I think it's quite sad because the images are presented as just this soft toy of a panda upright. And then the next one...
And then you tilt it on its side.
They've cut it open and put it on its side like they've just killed it and all these drugs are spilling out.
It's a hunting photo, but the guts are drugs.
The companion 1906 Royal Commission on Secret Drugs, Cures and Foods is much more of a moral polemic about how damaging drugs are to society, with a bigger focus on drugs related to, like, conception and stuff.
Okay.
And the effect of naughty stories on the upright soul of the Australian.
Okay.
Here's some of the licentious literature that they found that ties into the racial problem that they're investigating.
Okay, go on.
I'll read this to you, but I'll put it on the screen for you.
I'm very excited, okay.
The yogis have a habit of bathing the interior of their bodies as they do the exterior. They do it sometimes by swallowing through their mouth quantities of water, but they frequently do it also by reversing the peristaltic action of the intestines. They take in water by the lower orifice and eject it by the mouth. I have seen a man who could do that for 2 or 3 minutes. He placed himself in water and, after a few moments of these reversed peristaltic movements, he ejected from his mouth what seemed like a fountain of water as long as it was desired that he should do so.
What the fuck?
The government's looking into these Indian yogis who are ejecting water from their peristaltic. No,
These Indian yogis are butt-chugging fluids and vomiting them up.
This was an example of, like, racial literature that was corrupting people's minds into doing things like yoga and drugs.
Damn.
1906, you know?
That's fucking crazy.
I find it really funny because they read that whole thing out in court because it's evidence. And they're just reading all the evidence. Someone's just reading this whole thing out. Like, I
saw a man drink through his butt.
Yeah, I saw a man drink through his butt and eject it through his mouth. There's been a few of these kind of pairs of royal commissions. Often there's one by Bruce or Hughes in the 20s and then a second one by, like, Whitlam in the 70s or Fraser in the 80s, who also did a few about the same issue, kind of how it's evolved. Let's check back in 50 years later.
God.
There was the 1926 Phosphate Royal Commission about the exploitation of Nauru for its phosphate, and the 1979 Phosphate Royal Commission about the potential for future exploitation of Christmas Island for its phosphate.
Perfect.
Norfolk Island got a Royal Commission in 1926 about how the administrator there was fucking everything up for Australia's colonial possession. And another one in 1976, which gave them this, like, weird quasi-self-government situation that they had until recently.
Yeah.
The 1927 Commission on Wireless, or Into the Radio, but the Royal Commission on Wireless. They just had one into the radio. It's what gave private companies the right to set up radio stations, because previously it was a fully government-run thing, which I guess makes sense given the huge amount of money you need to set up the radio infrastructure.
Yeah,
of
the
country.
infrastructure of it would,
Yeah.
like, you could only do that through a government.
And that would be the main use for it. But once it exists, it's like, well,
Other
we
people
want to
can just
sell
kind of,
stuff
like,
on this.
jump on there and be like, cool, well, the towers are here.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
The waves are out there.
Yeah. So, and if you don't let us do it, you need. And anyway, there was another Royal Commission into FM radio in 1974 that made the stations have to update all their receivers or whatever to make it easier for people to listen to the radio, I think.
Cool,
It's
maybe.
now, something that neither Hughes nor Whitlam ran Royal Commissions on is corruption.
Ooh, okay, no corruption.
There have been 10 Royal Commissions that I found that I categorized as corruption, which I'm using to describe looking into situations of people being funky with government money or with their responsibilities in a public service role as distinct from banking and finance, as they are corrupt industries, and so it would be redundant.
Okay.
But, I mean, really, if we're looking for a good definition of corruption, we could do much worse than the 1941 Royal Commission by the Fadden government.
Okay, let's go Fadden. Royal Commission to inquire into circumstances under which certain public monies were used and to whom, and for what purposes such monies were paid.
Give us less information. That's a very good broad definition of corruption. Certain public monies being used.
Yeah, inquire into the circumstances under which certain public monies were used and to whom, and for what purposes such monies were paid.
Yeah. That's kind of all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of...
Where'd the money go?
Yeah.
Why?
It's like you need to say... Well, anyway, this was also known as the Secret Funds Royal Commission, which found that public money was used to fund the anti-communist Australian Democratic Front during the First World War, as well as to pay off union leaders to prevent strikes. Spicy.
Spicy indeed.
3 of these corruption commissions were about government buildings. The ones that I've decided are corruption. One of those buildings was a frequent target of the Australian Democratic Front that I just mentioned, the Sydney Post Office, which they described as, quote, honeycombed with communists.
The commies have the post.
The commies have the post. The resulting Royal Commission into the construction of an extra wing of the post office or whatever was fraught with finger-pointing and seemingly led to the suicide of the chief architect,
Holy
who
fuck.
shot himself the day before he was meant to give evidence.
Holy. Okay.
The other 2 were about the same building, Centenary House, one in 1994 and one in 2004, about, like, the Labour Party profiting from the government overpaying for rent on the building that the Labour Party owned.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, this rent's way too high. I
Interesting.
don't know. I don't give a fuck. The 2013 Royal Commission into Institutional Responses to Child Sexual Abuse is another one that I've categorized under corruption,
Yeah.
even though it doesn't feel particularly related to the communist post office saga.
Yes.
I just didn't really want a category that was just like crime,
Fair.
because that started getting like a big headache. It's a pretty recent one, and so it feels obviously like a much more sober read than many of these old ones. But it did produce these wild numbers about which religious institutions had the highest proportion of abusers, because it's like, well, we're going to meticulously look into this, right?
Yeah, look at every single
I
case.
wasn't ready to see these stats in the wild.
Okay, here we go.
You don't have to read them all, but you can give a general picture.
No, of course. Look, here's the list from the highest to the, I guess, lowest percentage, with the highest percentage being 40.4% and the lowest percentage being 0.3%.
Yeah, so that's the percentage of people in that church
Who-
that are doing abuse.
Yeah.
Not the percentage of abusers that are from that church. So
Yeah.
40% of the fucking...
St. John of God brothers.
Yeah.
Christian brothers, obviously, is second. Salesians of Don Bosco, Marist brothers, De La Salle brothers, Patrician brothers, Society of Jesus, Missionaries of the Sacred Heart, Sisters of St. Joseph of the Sacred Heart, and Sisters of Mercy, brackets Brisbane.
Sisters of Mercy with 0.3%. The Brothers of St. John
Yeah.
with 40%.
Yeah, and it does not surprise me, like, to see, like, I don't know who the Salesians of Don Bosco are, so...
It's funny, I do, kind of. My dad went to a Don Bosco school.
Oh! Okay, all right. I was going to say, the top 4, if I'm including, like, Marist brothers, and now that I know Salesians of Don Bosco...
I don't know if he went to a Salesians
But he went
school.
to
I don't know
Don
what-
Bosco school.
I don't know what that is. I just know Don Bosco's a guy.
Yeah, no, the Christian Brothers and Morris Brothers, notorious fiddlers.
Yeah.
Like,
Those are the two that I recognize names-wise as well.
yeah, especially like given, you know, I don't know about the other like schools and such, how much of a hold they still have on like society as like an institution you go to.
Yeah.
But like Marist is huge, right?
Marist
like,
is massive. There's
you know,
a Marist in every city.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Marist is notorious, as you said, for child sexual abuse.
Yeah.
And that this is, I guess, what was surprising was that they're not even half as bad as St. John.
Which is crazy.
But
So
I
what?
imagine
They
it's
just
a much smaller institution as well. I don't know anything about it, so like,
Yeah, but that's crazy. Almost half.
yeah, I think it's fucked.
Like that's fucking crazy.
I think it's fucking insane.
What
Like-
denomination is that?
Oh God, they are some weird Italians.
Yeah, that wasn't quite what I was asking, but
Didn't
that's
you
good
ask,
to know.
what a denomination?
What's a denomination?
What a nation they're from?
Okay, so
I'm sorry, Italians.
not me. Okay. The Brothers Hospitallers of St. John of God.
Opitale.
Hospitales.
Wait, they're Italian.
So it means, yeah, they are, actually they're Spanish.
That's the same.
They were founded in Spain, but the Italian name is like Fate Bene Fratelli, meaning do good brothers.
Wow.
Yeah. Damn.
What
right,
denomination
so
are
what
they?
denomination is this? This is... I'll give you one guess.
Are they Catholic?
You know that they are.
Oh no, we were talking shit. And
Uh-oh.
the call is coming from inside the house.
Yep.
We're not Catholic people, just so everyone knows.
I was once.
Yeah. Thinking back to the post office saga, though, the policing of working people in unions forms a backdrop to many of the royal commissions, especially the ones about goods. But there have been 8 royal commissions that are like specifically, explicitly about a union or a union-dominated industry and the union's domination of that industry, which is, you know, really like the government turning all its machinery on a union.
Yeah.
And these are some of the, I guess, most successful royal commissions in achieving what the government is setting out to do.
Which is probably like new to
The power
whatever
of the
resistance
union.
there is
Exactly.
from the union.
So four of these relate specifically to like boat union stuff. So there's like the wharfs, the maritime union, the ship painters union, and a fourth one that I forgot to write down. And there was another one into the non-boat related building union. So those are some of the specific named ones. The last two were both done by the Malcolm Fraser Liberal government. That's the ship painters and the boat buildings. I mean, not non-boat building. I shouldn't have written non-boat building. It looks silly. But yeah, the ship painters and the buildings union were both done by Malcolm Fraser's Liberal government, who were known to be extremely hostile to unions in general. And the shipping one has this crazy side character, Kerry Packer, the media mogul. He was dragged into all this talk about organized crime and unions and such. Here is a wild headline that I'll explain to you after.
Okay. Packer cleared of Goanna allegations.
They were calling him the Goanna.
What the fuck?
The Royal Commission had been investigating a guy they'd been calling the Goanna. And the Goanna had been trafficking in drugs, porn, and murder, as well as the tax evasion scheme that Mark Liebler pioneered back in the 60s and 70s, the bottom of the harbor scheme that we talked about back in the day.
Yeah.
So, ABL, in this time period, is also a big target of a royal commission investigating companies that make fake companies that then disappear to get out of paying tax. These are known as bottom of the harbor schemes because, you know, the company's been sunk.
Yeah.
You just create a company that has a loss and so doesn't have to pay the tax and then transfer the money to a new company. And so when a company goes bankrupt or wants to get out of paying tax, they can do it, right?
Yeah.
Mark says that, you know, when asked about this, Kerry Packer, who is heretofore unnamed, comes out and reveals himself as the Goanna. And then is like, but it's not true that I did all those things. So then he hires Malcolm Turnbull to sue the commission or something like that. I don't know exactly what happens legally. But conveniently, he doesn't get in trouble for the tax evasion schemes either. But
What the fuck?
yeah, he comes out, he's like, everyone, I'm the Goanna, but the stories about the Goanna aren't true. He's not like that. That shit's crazy.
I'm shocked that we've had like a I'm Iron Man moment.
We've had
You know,
an I'm
the Batman. Only he's actually really nice if you got to know him.
This was a union investigation that I think kind of spiraled a little bit.
That's fucking crazy.
I don't know how I think. It's like, Carrie Packer's the Goanna? I can't believe this.
What the fuck?
There's a lot going on.
I'm the Goanna.
The union-focused... Oh, I already actually said that. The union royal commissions tend to lead to the creation of a body that reduces the power of unions in some way. Like, it just basically employs a bunch of people to do something to bother unions.
Yeah.
With the pretense of combating drug smuggling or some other kind of criminality, right? This happened in the Maritime Union case with the creation of the National Crime Authority, and again in 2001 with the Australian Building and Construction Commission, which is regarded as a classic union-busting body. The 1931 Royal Commission on Jacob Johnson, although it sounds like it's about a specific person, is a classic anti-union case. That's Jacob Johnson.
Okay, he's an old guy with a pipe.
He's like... I think he's like in his 30s.
Look, he's an old-timey looking guy with a pipe. And you know what? Time is not kind.
I think he's Swedish. So
Swedish.
he's a first-generation Swede. So, like, his skin can't be
Jacob
doing well.
Johnson.
Yeah, it's Janssen.
Janssen.
I did see Johansson. His
Johansson.
His dad's name was anglicized.
Nice.
So the commission was looking into whether Jacob Johnson, a member of the Seamen Union, the Seamen's Union, had organized a strike. It seems, substantively, to just be looking at statements he made at a union meeting, and it ultimately came down to the government seeing if they could legally deport him, which they couldn't.
That's crazy.
It's just wild to think, like, what the judicial mechanisms of the whole government are turned to investigate the actions of one person, and not just the actions, but like just what he said.
Yeah, did he say let's do a strike?
Event. Yeah,
that's crazy.
And it's a time before there's any footage. There's no audio. There's no video recording of this. Like, it's the 30s, I think I said, 1931.
That's fucking crazy.
And there's this whole investigation for the king. It's a royal commission.
Need to know whether this fucking Swede is causing trouble. That's crazy.
They couldn't end up deporting him, but he was arrested. Not including the Jacob Johnson one. There have been 9 royal commissions specifically focused at or primarily focused on the actions of specific individuals. And it is something that has fallen out of style.
Yeah, this doesn't appear to be something that happens in modern years.
No, the most recent one was the 1981 Royal Commission looking into drug trafficking, which was looking at this guy Terry Clark and his involvement with the Mr. Asia gang.
Which is crazy. You think they would be too busy with the Skippy Burgers in 1981, but you know.
1981 was a huge year for these like flashy royal. I think that's after Whitlam, and I think it's the Liberal government, and I think they're just doing these like flashy, like attention-grabbing royal commissions.
We got to make it look good.
Yeah, as opposed to like, we want to change the land rights laws in the Constitution or whatever.
Boring!
Yeah, but I don't know, I wasn't there. But yeah, they're looking into the Mr. Asia gang. New Zealand also did a royal commission about Terry Clark, and he ended up in prison in the UK. Our royal commission mainly looked at why he had all these fake Australian passports.
Okay.
And how he was able to get them so easily.
Just like, hey, damn, how's this guy keep getting passports?
And so passport laws were changed, right? That's kind of how a lot of these things happen.
That makes sense.
The first royal commission into a person directly was the Royal Commission appointed to inquire into certain charges against Mr. Henry Chin.
Who is Mr. Henry Chin?
First, I'll tell you, he's like Welsh. He's not like Asian. He's Chin for a different reason. And it's 1913, and it's very similar. It's looking at this individual, Henry Chin's criminality. Henry is a sewerage engineer. He's described by the Dictionary of Biography as... You know the Dictionary of Biography?
No.
Oh, the Australian Dictionary of Biography. It's like an ANU project, and it's just like a biography of all these Australians.
Okay, sure.
I use it a lot. He's described as frequently in trouble.
They're like, oh, this guy? Yeah, he's gonna get a royal commission. He's frequently in trouble.
He's up to no good. He was being investigated for fraud in gold trafficking.
Damn.
Though he wasn't found guilty of gold trafficking. The judge was like, he's definitely a fraudster. Which led to Henry being described by the Perth Sunday Times as...
Australia's champion liar.
Yeah, he's the best. He's a champion liar. He forged a bunch of references and he pretended to invent something that he didn't. And a bunch of other, like, fraud things.
Yeah, damn. This little, like, this inset that they have here... is crazy.
Yeah, subheadings in fucking, when I say this,
13?
1913, they hadn't got, like, subheadlines very well.
Is the man who supplied the information contained in a biography of Mr. Henry Chin, published in the Cyclopedia of WA, a weird farrago of exaggerations and falsehoods? Mr. Falkingham, his partner, the Melbourne sewerage job, the Adelaide tramways, and the North Mount Lyell Railway, grossly extravagant claims, resting on an infinitesimal basis of fact.
Hey, it says it all.
That's fucking crazy.
And there's Henry Chin.
You know,
Ironically,
not that big of a chin.
not that big of a chin. Not that small. He's got a
No, it's just like a pretty average chin, you know? I think maybe it looks small to me because I'm expecting, his name is Chin.
His name
I
is
thought
Chin,
there
you're
there
expecting
would
a
be
big
more of
chin.
a chin.
Yeah, but another Royal Commission into a case of fraud or corruption was the Royal Commission in connection with purchases by... Is this one with the connection with the X? They used to spell connection with an X, and that's in
hell
the
yeah.
titles of the Royal Commissions.
I
and
love
it's
that
weird.
shit.
Another case of fraud or individual corruption was the Royal Commission in connection with purchases by the Commonwealth through Mr. W.E. Davies on September and October of 1920, which is also known as...
The Sugar Inquiry. £5,000 in an envelope. Mr. Davies explains transactions.
This Davies guy was like skimming sugar money or something. Someone
Holy
asked
shit.
him. I don't know. The Royal Commissions used to occasionally look through just like a rich guy's financial records. Like they were just like, you got £500.
Where the fuck
Explain
did you get that from? And it's
the
just
whole
like,
country's
nah,
watching.
shit, now everybody gets to find out. That's so nosy. I like it a lot.
Yeah, me
actually.
too. Sidney Kidman, one of Australia's richest men and no relation to Nicole, was
Damn.
also subject to something similar in 1924 about land taxes, which found that his tax returns were all fucked up. Also on the topic of famous people with prominent names, Walter Burley Griffin of the Lake in Canberra was the subject or object of a Royal Commission in 1916 when he was having trouble with other early Canberrans about Canberran buildings
Okay.
or something. Harold Holt, being one of the prime ministers that people can name, only called one Royal Commission in his, 1 year in office or whatever.
Yeah, it makes sense. Didn't really have an opportunity for too many.
And it was just to look into, what a guy said. It was the...
Royal Commission on the Statement of Lieutenant Commander Caban and Matters Incidental thereto.
But this was actually the second Royal Commission concerning this one particular incident, which will take us cleanly into the incidents category.
Okay.
Now, if the ongoing Royal Commission was more strictly about the day of the attacks at Bondi Beach, it would fall into this category. But this is about when something definite has happened and they're trying to unpick what happened and perhaps liabilities or...
Okay, yeah,
for
like an
insurance
event
purposes.
has occurred.
Exactly.
And we can all pinpoint exactly when this happened.
Usually, yeah.
And we're now going to, look at that.
Usually an event. Sometimes it's a series of events, but people want to get to the
Okay,
bottom of it.
like a timeline of things. But it's basically a contained, thing.
Yeah, a moment in time. And the Holt Royal Commission was actually following up the 1964 Royal Commission on the loss of the HMAS Voyager,
Okay.
an incident in which a very big boat, the one in the middle of the picture, slammed into a smaller boat at the top of the picture, splitting it in two and killing 82 people.
Fuck.
The first Royal Commission, known as the Spicer Commission,
Spicer.
after the guy who ran it, blamed the crew of both boats for the crash, ignoring tremendous evidence pointing to a bunch of extenuating circumstances and the culpability of the captain. The second commission found out, as it turns out, the captain was a drunk. And the crews of those ships shouldn't have been punished. There was a previous Royal Commission into a ship incident, the disappearance of a big steamship in 1923, which found that the ship was fine but hit a hurricane, which worker groups described as a cover-up of government mismanagement. There was also a 1994 Royal Commission into an event that happened on the very day I was born.
Oh.
Yeah, where a pilot radioed through the phrase, "I've lost it, Clive, I've lost it," and then flew his plane into the ocean.
Holy fuck. Damn.
He was talking to someone named Clive, so... the inquiry found a bunch of problems at the company, no way. And there were a bunch of aviation safety changes that came out of it.
Fair.
There's then two Royal Commissions about, illnesses. 1928, a bunch of vaccines were stored without antiseptic and a bunch of kids died in Bundaberg. And 2008, there was the equine influenza inquiry, trying to figure out why these horses have the flu.
Fair.
And I think that's the one with the shortest name. There's two about essentially big mob fights between brown people and white people. In 1904, the crew of the SS Mary England, and that's Mary with an IE, they met some natives on Goaribari in Papua New Guinea and got fucking speared to death or whatever.
Hell yeah.
A professor reviewing the Royal Commission in 2008 described it as treating the Goaribari's people as a different species.
Yeah, of course.
That's how they talked about them. There was a similar Royal Commission during the Whitlam years about broadly the relationship between Indigenous people and police officers as manifested through some specific brawls in a particular area. And that is attributed as a step on the way to the Aboriginal Deaths in Custody Royal Commission, which perhaps leads to the Child Protection and Youth Detention Commission. If there's one thing we've learned is that when it comes to Royal Commissions, one brings two.
Yeah, I suppose so.
In terms of those three topics, though, we mostly hear about how the problems are largely unchanged since the Commission.
Yes, and that the recommendations have not been put in place. So it's like, why did we do this in the first place?
Exactly.
If you don't want to fucking know it, if you don't want
they're unenforced or unenforceable.
Yeah.
Finally, for our incidents category, we have a Royal Commission into a very specific incident that you've definitely heard of.
Okay.
I guess take a guess.
Is it the Bondi riots?
No.
No.
From the past, from the distant past.
Distant past?
I mean, not super distant. There's video footage. It's the Chamberlain convictions.
Oh. Damn, that's crazy.
Which I guess also makes this the most recent individual Royal Commission. If you, dear listener, don't recognize the name, it's the case of a couple out in the bush whose kid got eaten by a dingo, but the mum initially got imprisoned for killing her. The Royal Commission found that, hey, we're pretty sure a dingo did it.
Yeah.
So this is
if you've heard that quote, a dingo ate my baby, used, quite comically, because everyone's like, yeah, she's a fucking liar, she's just saying that shit, and then they found, evidence that a child had been killed by a dingo.
No way. Wild animal that eats?
Wild animal that preys on the young of other animals, kills the young of another animal.
That's shocking.
Call everybody.
Yeah, and, she had been led to believe that dingoes were safe or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think she had been led to believe that she was in safety, that she wasn't in.
Yeah.
But whatever. The Royal Commission found out, hey, dingo did it. They tried to find the dingo. So far this episode, we have touched on 54 of the 141 Royal Commissions, and that is not a pace that is going to cut it. So it is time for a rapid fire round through some of the rest of the categories we haven't talked about much because they were less interesting to write about or I didn't get to them.
Hell yeah.
The first of these is war. I found 14 Royal Commissions that are about war or national security or something like that. 3 of these are just commissions inquiring into intelligence and security in broad terms, 74, 83, and 94, seeing if ASIO was worth it or if they were too paranoid or whatever.
Fair enough.
Assessing ASIO. There have been 3 veteran-related Royal Commissions. In 1924, when Bruce was trying to get out of paying for war injuries, he came up against the social might of the Blinded Soldiers Association and the One-Eyed Soldiers Association.
Damn. Okay, collaboration. They didn't just want to be the visually damaged by war.
I reckon the Blinded Soldiers were like, you One-Eyed don't understand us at all.
You don't fucking get it.
And the One-Eyed Soldiers are like, you don't fucking get that we are the closest to sighted people that can understand
you. We are the fucking bridge.
We are the bridge. Later, the government would try to get out of paying veterans for Agent Orange-related illnesses.
Motherfuckers.
The 1984 Royal Commission into British nuclear tests in Australia seems to have been an argument between Australia and England over the ultimate culpability over the tests that led to cancers, illnesses, shortened lifespans, whatever. You'll notice there hasn't been a Royal Commission into our more recent military activities. And I think the value of being the one to pull all the information out there is lower when heaps of people can easily read the information, sort through it, and put it on the internet and find places where you've lied about it, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine a Royal Commission into the Iraq War in 2008 or 2010?
Yeah.
Unrelated to war, but related to nation building, Western and South Australia both got Royal Commissions about their finances as affected by Federation. Basically saying, hey, since we all joined up, you are taking our money. On the topic of Western Australia, their government refused to give evidence in the 1913 Royal Commission into powerlised timber, which is a type of wood that you soak in molasses that you don't hear about because it's bad. Western Australia had heaps of investments in it or something. I'm not going to spend any more time on this sugar wood scam.
But I ain't going to spend any more time on it.
Let's have a quick scan of some more recent ones which should inform us a little bit about the shape of modern Royal Commissions. Since 2010, there have been 11, including the aforementioned child sex abuse, youth detention, violence against people with a disability, and veteran suicide ones, cheery stuff.
Yeah.
Abbott ran one into trade union corruption, which is on brand for the guy and led to powers against unions. Turnbull had the Banking Misconduct Royal Commission kind of forced on him, which eventuated in some, slaps on the wrist to some banks. A bunch of dudes got electrocuted installing insulation, and so there was a commission about that in 2013, which was used to attack energy-efficient homes more generally. And finally, there was the Robodebt Royal Commission, about a time where sensitive financial and social matters were handed over to robots, leading to mass despair for already relatively poor people by uncaring, unfeeling robots malfunctioning. One person got fired from her $900,000 position, but got rehired at the same amount to work on the AUKUS project. The government is handing over our critical services to AI. Well, they haven't yet. Hopefully they won't.
Well, no, I mean, I think they clearly will. They clearly will, and there will be more Robodebt situations, and more people will be in huge amounts of debt, being chased for things they don't owe, and more people will kill themselves. Most likely.
On the topic of poor people, I've barely touched on the royal commissions into financial matters. There have been 11 that I kind of packed that way, and they have a natural split. The first 6 are building structures. There's one about pensions, insurance, taxation, monetary and banking systems, and doctors' payments. The last 5, including the Robodebt and banking misconduct ones, have been about banking impropriety, or like insurance impropriety.
Okay.
In 2001, a company called HIH Insurance collapsed, and 2 of the founders had to give back their recently awarded Order of Australia medals for being found culpable of, being wrong in the Royal Commission.
Fucking losers.
In 1984, there was some big insurance fraud situation that mainly seemed to affect Greek Australians. I don't know why. I didn't look into it.
That's bizarre.
Because it brings us to the 1983 Royal Commission with a very spooky name that was much more sexy and interesting.
Royal Commission of Inquiry into the Activities of the Nugent Hand Bank.
The Nugent Hand Bank sounds evil.
Yeah. What the fuck?
It was founded by an Australian lawyer, Francis Nugent, and a former American Special Forces agent, Michael Hand, which is where the name comes from.
Okay. Well, that's less exciting.
That's less
isn't it?
exciting.
Yeah.
And the Royal Commission found that they had committed numerous violations of banking laws, which led to the bank's collapse. That's a win for justice, right?
Sure.
Led to Francis Nugent's suicide and the bank's collapse. I left that out.
Oh,
what
dear.
wasn't found in the evidence that was alleged was that the bank was connected to the CIA and in fact had been operating as a front for American intelligence, as evidenced by the fact that they hired a bunch of people from the CIA, including the ex-director. The commission was basically like, well, this bank sucks. The CIA wouldn't do something as stupid as this. They didn't find evidence that money was used to buy heroin to ship into Australia. Unfortunately, a bunch of financial records were destroyed in a fire by Michael Hand, but there's just no evidence. They also didn't find any evidence that the CIA was using the Nugent Hand Bank to smuggle weapons to the briefly mentioned Mr. Asia drug syndicate, as had been alleged by Australian Penthouse magazine.
What?
Yeah, this is another one of those whitewashing royal commissions hiding government impropriety or something, and CIA stuff, and Penthouse is the one to break it.
Penthouse breaks it?
Yeah. Apparently
What the
there's
fuck?
substantial evidence. I would like to look into this one more one day. But with that, I think we must end our little investigation into the history of these funny procedures. At the start of the episode, I was hoping to answer a series of related questions. Who are these people, and what can they do? When does Australia call royal commissions? Have they been effective, and how many have there been, and who calls them? The last 2 questions, thankfully, very easy. The government, and 141.
Hey.
In terms of have they been effective, from my cursory look, I think they're effective when they have a clear target. Unfortunately for unions, that's often unions.
Yeah. Or if you're an individual person,
Yeah.
the individual
A
person.
specific con artist or a specific unionist.
Yeah.
But if they have a clear target, yes, absolutely, they're very effective, right? If they're trying to cover something up, it's hard to say. I think they've probably gotten more effective at that. I mean, they've got less effective at that over time as that information becomes accessible to more people. So the value of we've put it over together and the government's looked into it is lowered slightly.
That makes sense.
They are certainly successful at setting up a consultative body. So that's great. So it's hard to know. When does Australia call royal commissions? Is basically when the government, specifically the Prime Minister, wants to, or in a couple of cases, has been bullied into doing it. Feels like he has to.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
there have been 2 times where a couple of guys have called a bunch of royal commissions really quickly, and I don't think that's going to happen again because of how big these royal commissions tend to be now. Even the one about the Bondi shooting, which is a discrete event, is about everything in society.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be many more of the future royal commissions. I don't think it's the right vehicle to get to the bottom of these kinds of social issues because they tend not to be issues with like a bottom,
Yeah.
right? It's the shape of a royal commission, unfortunately, is inevitably a bunch of people in proxy appointed by the government presenting all the evidence to further whatever view they have about what the bottom of the situation is, allowing the conversation, in theory, to proceed only along prescribed rails.
Yes.
And who are these people and what can they do there? Whoever and nothing. And that's been Shouldn'ta Come by Whoever and Nothing. And we're here to tell you to have a wonderful rest of your week and hopefully weekend. And thank you for listening to our show. Kieran, what are your thoughts?
Firstly of all, thank you so much for putting this together. I know it's been a shitload of work to go through all of these royal commissions.
I made charts.
I do strongly encourage everybody to have a look at the YouTube channel to see our charts. I didn't do anything.
I will
Narni did
look
all of the
into if I
charts.
can put the charts on Tableau Public and then you can click through them and stuff.
Oh, yes, and then you can look at your leisure.
Yeah.
I really like looking at all these royal commissions. It kind of, I don't know, this feels both really funny but also like really predictable, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, of course there was a royal commission into this, or like, you know, oh yeah, people kind of are like just weird. Like Australia is just kind of silly.
Yeah. It's a little bit silly.
A little bit silly.
It's always a little bit silly, and I think sometimes it's a little quaint. Like, I don't necessarily mind, in a sense, like, yeah, a royal commission into taxation, especially when, or something like that, from like the ones in the 20s, ones in the 30s, where it's like, well, you're setting up all your structures and stuff. You have the opportunity to do that. It makes sense to do that.
Yeah.
Since the last 20 years of royal commissions, especially when it's about like the failure of an industry, the aged care one, the disability one, the child detention one, I feel like those are all about, you know, an industry failing to, about a industry that's a duty of care of the government that has failed, which means the government has let down its duty of care to its most vulnerable people. Tend to find the same things. These are chronically underfunded, but no one can be blamed. Usually there's no one to blame, and usually there is no one to blame because these are big like issues about the structure of society.
Yeah, you can't really like, you know, I mean, we saw the percentages of the, you know, the St. John whatever, you know. It's like you could be like, yeah, we can just blame them for all the abuse in religious institutions, but then that does forego every other type of abuse in a religious institution.
Exactly. And it ignores what it is about religious institutions that allows for abuse.
Exactly.
It's not inherently the fact that they are
It's religious, it's power.
Spiritual.
Exactly. It's a power basis. When you put your faith unflinchingly in somebody else's hands, they can do whatever they want with that, depending on what kind of person they are.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing you find with famous people, with politicians, people who have some level of power over you, with teachers.
With Ian Thorpe.
Not with Ian Thorpe, okay? Not with Ian Thorpe. Not Ian. Not Ian. He's lurking under a wharf right now. Leave him alone, okay? You're going to royally commit him?
I'm going to royally commit him
How
to
dare you?
the hospital.
How dare you? What's Ian think of all this?
Ian.
He can't tell. He's got to put his phone in some rice or something.
He's under the water, yeah.
Got to put his phone in Stephanie Rice. Yeah, that's right. It's Kieran Shithead Hour. Yeah, piece of shit Kieran Hour. Let's fucking go.
Piece of shit, Karen. Can you tell the people where they can find us?
Absolutely. Thank you again for listening to Shouldn't Come. If you like what we're doing and you would like to support us fiscally, you can go to our Patreon. That's www.patreon.com/Shouldn't Come. If you'd like to send us an email, tell us about your favourite royal commission or what you think deserves a royal commission. And it can't be my shithead hour. That's mine, and I won't be giving it up.
I am for the Kieran Shithead Hour Royal Commission, and I'm calling out, if you're still listening, hey, we would love to get some mailbag content. So tell us about what you want Royal Commissions about and the Kieran Shithead Hour.
Yeah, but you can do that at shouldntacome@gmail.com. And, of course, our YouTube channel is youtube.com/@shouldntacome. In all instances, that is spelled SHOULDNTACOME.
Imagine if we spelled it different one time.
One time.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week, hopefully, to talk about the anti-Semitism one, though it could take longer. I'm a little behind right now, so... I mean,
which is just not true. I mean,
shut up.
Big behind. Kieran Shithead Hour.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
So much shit on your head.